All right, let's talk about the electric vehicle market, because right now it is at a terrifying crossroads. And look, if you are even thinking about buying a premium EV anytime soon, you're going to want to listen up. What we're diving into today could literally save you from making a huge financial mistake.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. That's not my opinion. That is a stark warning coming from a deep industrial analysis of a technology that is poised to change, well, pretty much everything. The solid-state battery. The stakes for your wallet, they are incredibly high. So what exactly is this revolution all about?
Okay, first up, let's talk about the promise of range. We're not talking about a small improvement here. We are talking about a car that can go over 1,000 kilometers on a single charge. To put that in perspective, that's like driving from Paris all the way to Berlin without ever having to stop. And then there's the refueling time. You know, that 30, 40-minute wait at a charging station? Yeah, forget about it. The goal here is to get from 10 to 80% charge in under 10 minutes. I mean, that's getting ridiculously close to how long it takes to just fill up a regular gas tank.
And third, and honestly, this might be the most important promise of them all, safety. Because of the way these new batteries are built, their chemical architecture, the risk of one of those catastrophic fires you hear about, it's virtually eliminated. We're talking zero.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds like a bunch of marketing hype, right? But it's not. These incredible promises, they're a direct result of solving a really fundamental and frankly dangerous flaw that's at the very heart of every single EV on the road today.
So it all comes down to the electrolyte. Think of it as the superhighway that the lithium ions travel through in the battery. Right now, in today's EVs, that highway is a flammable, volatile liquid. It's why they need all those heavy, complex cooling systems. Solid-state batteries, they just rip out that dangerous liquid and replace it with a stable, non-flammable solid ceramic. And that one change, it completely neutralizes the fire risk.
Okay, and what's really cool is how this solves a nasty little problem called dendrites. Just picture these things. They're like tiny, sharp spikes of lithium that literally grow inside the battery, especially when you try to fast charge it. They are the absolute #1 villain when it comes to battery failure and fires.
So here's how they cause a total disaster. As these little spikes grow and grow, they eventually poke through and puncture this delicate little wall, the membrane separating the positive and negative sides of the battery. The second that happens, you get a short circuit, and that flammable liquid we talked about, it ignites in this terrifying chain reaction called thermal runaway. But with a solid electrolyte, it's like having an impenetrable brick wall. It just crushes those dendrites before they can even get started.
And this right here, this just shows you the insane difference in performance. Just look at the numbers. Comparing one of Tesla's top-tier 4680 batteries, that's their latest and greatest, right, to just an early Toyota solid-state prototype. The on-paper advantages are just staggering. The energy density is almost double. The fast charge time is cut by more than half, and the fire risk, it goes from high all the way down to zero. It's not even in the same league. So, with this kind of incredible potential, it's really no surprise that it's kicked off a global arms race. And that brings us to this fascinating duel, a real clash of titans between two giants taking completely different approaches to winning the future, Toyota and BYD. So, in one corner, you've got Toyota. Now, they were famously late to the whole EV party, but they've basically bet the entire farm on perfecting solid-state tech. They're sitting on a mountain of over 1,300 patents, and they're aiming for nothing less than a flawless, revolutionary product. But, and this is a big but, they are hyper-cautious. They refuse to release anything that's like a beta test on their customers. It has to be perfect. And then, in the other corner, you've got China's BYD, and they are playing a totally different game. They've gone for what you could call a brutally aggressive roadmap. They pivoted to something called a semi-solid battery. Now sure, it's a compromise, it's not the full dream yet, but it let them immediately put cars with 800 kilometers of range on the road right now, and they've slashed their production costs. They're gaining this huge market advantage while Toyota is still tinkering away in the lab. But there's a massive reality check here, and it's geopolitical. Even if Toyota engineers the most perfect battery the world has ever seen, they face a giant hurdle. Why? Because China controls over 80% of the global refining for the critical materials you need to build these things. That gives players like BYD a colossal strategic advantage before the race even starts.
Okay, so you've got this intense race, right? Toyota's perfectionism versus BYD's aggressive pragmatism. You'd think these batteries would be hitting showrooms any day now. If the tech is so obviously superior, why isn't every car company on the planet using it?
Well, here's the dirty secret. Going from a perfect little lab prototype to building millions of these things for actual cars is, and I'm quoting insiders here, an engineering hellscape.
So problem number one is just basic physics. When you jam electricity into one of these solid-state batteries super fast, the whole thing physically expands. It swells up. And that expansion can literally crack the fragile ceramic electrolyte inside, destroying it. The only way to stop that, for now, is to build these heavy, massive compression rigs right into the car's frame to squeeze the battery and hold it together. And that, of course, cancels out a lot of the weight savings you were hoping to get.
And that problem, that single expansion issue, is pretty much why Toyota had to take its original 2025 release date and push it way, way back. We're now looking at a window somewhere between 2028 and 2030. That is a massively expensive delay, all thanks to the brutal realities of just trying to manufacture these things at scale.
But wait, it gets worse. The second nightmare is something straight out of a sci-fi movie. The special materials inside these batteries, they react with even the tiniest bit of moisture in the air, and when they do, they create poisonous hydrogen sulfide gas. That means you can't just build a normal factory. You have to build these gigantic, cathedral-sized hyper-dry rooms with literally zero humidity. This can triple the cost of building the factory before you've even made a single battery cell.
Okay, so we've talked science, we've talked about manufacturing, nightmares. Let's bring this all back to what really matters to you, your money, your wallet. Because this whole technological shift isn't just happening in a lab. It's about to trigger an economic earthquake, and the epicenter is right in your driveway.
There's a business school term for this, and it's called the Osborne effect. It's a really simple idea. It's what happens when everybody becomes aware that a massively superior product is just around the corner. What do? You stop buying the old one. I mean, think about it. Why would you spend $60,000, $70,000 on a brand new car today when you know for a fact it's going to be technologically obsolete in just a couple of years? And this right here, this is the devastating result. The second that the first true solid-state EVs land on showroom floors, the resale value of every single liquid-based EV out there today is projected to just collapse. That expensive, top-of-the-line 2026 model you're looking at, its value could absolutely plummet almost overnight.
So, all of this leads us to a really personal, really important question. Especially if you're in the market for a car right now. Knowing everything we've just talked about, what is the smartest move you can possibly make?
All right, here is the strategic verdict, based on the analysis. First, the 1,000-kilometer dream, it's real. It's coming. But it's not going to be cheap or mainstream until around 2030. Second, BYD's semi-solid tech is a really masterful middle ground move. For now. Third, and this is the big one for you, buying a premium liquid-based EV today represents a terrifying financial exposure. Which leads to the final point. The most lethal tactic for your wallet until at least 2028 is either patience or using a plug-in hybrid as a kind of bridge technology to get you through until this revolution is fully baked.
So, I want to leave you with this one last, really powerful analogy. Think about those big, heavy CRT tube televisions from back in the day. Nobody wants one now, right? They're completely obsolete. Well, the heavy, volatile cars of today are about to face that exact same bleak future. And the only question left is, do you really want one of those sitting in your driveway when that day comes?